yes, a real job can be gruesome. A real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you. You know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
Oh boy, it seems like the internet is pretty mad at Hasan Piker again for the infinity billionth time. And you have to ask yourself, well, what did he say now? Well, he says a lot of things because Hasan streams for 1 million hours a day. And it actually has to do with that, with why people are mad at him, because I feel like Hasan's just doing this thing to try to be relatable. And I feel like a lot of people who are celebrities and rich and in that realm, they do this every once in a while because they don't want to, they want to quote unquote fit in. And really, they should just not care. They should just embrace where they're at. And if they didn't want to be there, then they should change their situation, right? But they wouldn't want to do that. It's kind of like trying to have a little bit of the cake and eat it too. Right? Like, it's just like, people are going to do that, and then people will push back because of various reasons. Sometimes it's jealousy. Sometimes it's just simple observations. Like in this instance, Hasan was talking about how his social battery gets drained so much by streaming for 9+ hours a day or whatever. And then he says that regular jobs just don't drain you in the same way. And unfortunately, since he was even talking about that at all, there was people that took the clip barely out of context, and I mean barely, and people extrapolated it to Hasan thinks streaming is harder than any regular job. And so that's not exactly what he was saying, to be fair to him. But what he was actually saying was still just not as dumb, but just one step below as being as dumb, right? Because he's saying, no, those jobs are obviously harder, but I get socially drained way more. Like, I could work a really hard 9-to-5 job and still have a social battery that's not completely depleted and that can go and socialize with people. But after I'm done streaming, my social battery is completely drained, and then I just don't want to do or talk to anyone. And it's just a crazy thing to say at all. It's such an unrelatable thing to say because, no, I'm somebody. I saw people on different sides saying things. I saw a tweet, and I'm like, there's no way this is real. It was deleted, where this girl was saying that she would commute for like 4 hours for a full-time job that was like 12 hours shifts, and then also go to school full-time. Well, she didn't specifically say she worked a job full-time, but she would do 12-hour shifts with a 4-hour commute and also go to school full-time, and she thinks streaming is more draining than that. And she deleted the tweet because obviously like, that's such an absurd thing to say, that either she was joking and people missed the joke, so she deleted it, or she realized just how stupid that sounded and just deleted it because people were just trashing her, destroying her, because of how silly of a thing that sounds. Like, I am somebody who's been all over the spectrum as far as jobs goes. I have done unloading trucks for 8 hours a day, uploading and offloading trucks. I've done all the type of warehouse work. I've done installing things, maintenance things. I've done grocery. I've done customer service, worked at Hot Topic. I've done, you name it, cashier jobs. And I've also been on YouTube, and I've also streamed. Out of all the jobs that I've done, streaming was infinitely the easiest. There was no part of me that felt socially drained whatsoever. Now, to be fair, have I ever streamed for 9 hours? No. I think that's kind of crazy. I think that's kind of insane to stream that long. But I've streamed for 5 hours, 6 hours, and you know what I also didn't do? I didn't leave for sections at a time. I didn't eat for a long time and just let videos play like crazy. I mean, and I was just watching a video, not even trying to watch a video. in the way that, like, say, oh, I want to be critical of this video. I clicked on a Hasan video and I want to be critical of it. But in a way that, oh, I was interested to see what he had to say about this Anthony Fantano video, where Anthony Fantano debated a Destiny fan. They were talking about Kanye. And that, I guess that doesn't really matter. But the thing is, I just wanted to see his take on it. And just a few minutes into the video, he lets it just very long portions of the video play, and then he's just eating. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, how is that draining? Oh, so then you talk to the chat, and he's like, oh man, I just been talking for 8 hours. I'm like, what are you talking about? Okay, maybe I understand that you're tired of talking. I get it. But I feel like the biggest thing that is so dumb about this whole situation is that Hasan chooses to stream for that long. There is nothing making him stream for 9 hours at a time. There is nothing making him do that. He has no, as far as I'm concerned, there's no contractual obligation to stream for 9 hours. And if there is, well, he should at least 100% make that apparent. Make it completely transparent that, like, hey, I have to do this. So it is similar to your 9 to 5 where I have to do this because I'm in this sort of contract. But as far as I'm concerned, he's independent and he's very wealthy. So he can actually stream infinitely less if that's what he wanted to do. But like a lot of people who become rich, they really like money and they want to keep making more money. So they'll do things to increase that income. And so that's what he does. He wants to maximize his profits, so he streams for ungodly hours. I personally just don't, I'm just not a fan of streaming. And if I do, just 2-3 hours tops, where you can just have a quick session, play a portion of a video game and have fun. But also, I just what these people do, I just don't find joy in it. I don't find joy in sitting around, eating, leaving for large portions of a time, letting videos play for just crazy long times to where it's not even considered fair use, and then just, I don't know, have people hanging around, and I just don't, that's not my style. And so many people have done that because they see how easy it is. I mean, there are creators out there that have never used to stream. They never streamed before, even like, you know, pre-pandemic. And now they all do. They all have streaming clip channels on YouTube. And this is how I know that they stream, because I don't really watch streams. So then I'll just see like, oh, so-and-so clip channel. And I'm like, oh, well, obviously they stream now. Everyone, like, there's so many music reviewers, they all do it, and they all stream. And they all stream because of how incredibly lazy it is. Hey, let me do the laziest thing possible and make a decent amount of money. Now look, I get it. I'm not even hating on that prospect. It's not for me, but it's just always weird when there's people trying to relate to the 9-to-5ers. There's always people that try to say like, oh, streaming's really hard, guys. Remember there was the YouTubers versus streamers maybe a few years ago, and people were trying to say which one's more difficult to do. And I couldn't believe that this was even a thing that was being discussed. That, what do you mean? Like, there's no editing in streaming. There's no promo in streaming. There's no writing in streaming. Like, what do you it was such a weird argument. I didn't understand why this was even happening. That, of course, creating content, shooting that content, editing that content, publishing that content, promoting the, like, everything and that encompasses that. Like, being a YouTuber is multiple jobs, where there are people who edit professionally and just do one thing, and that's one aspect of a YouTuber, to the point where if people get a large source of income by making content on YouTube or what have you, they hire editors because that's such a grind. It's the hardest part of the job, putting it together. And streamers don't have to do that. And especially the biggest streamers don't even put a show together. They show up, they get suggestions. They're like, all right, what are we watching today, guys? And then people will send in money to be like, watch this. And they'll be like, okay, I'll watch this. Or they'll have maybe, oh, I heard this one big controversy that happened, so I know I'll watch this, and then we'll see what happens from there. Right? There's nothing difficult about anything that I just said. And the social draining aspect, it's just you don't have to do that. Like, Hasan would still be very rich if he cut his streaming in half. If he did part-time, if he did 4 hours a day. Like, that is, I would say, a healthy amount of time to make your money online and then peace out. When I would do YouTube regularly with YouTube videos, about 4 to 6 hours was the average that I would spend on in a day doing something. And then it would just cycle. But usually I wouldn't have days off. I would do Saturday and Sunday as well. So it was one of those things. That was the way that I would space it out. But I don't understand this man, dude. Like, I don't even care about, like, a lot of people will criticize him for his political takes and blah, 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 this, and that. To me, that's not even about this, because people will always take that opportunity to try to take shots at him. And I'm like, I don't care. I just wonder why these large streamers feel like they have to feel like what they're doing is hard at all. And even though, like, say, being a YouTuber is way harder than being a streamer, it's still infinitely easier than driving a truck across the country or from state to state or whatever. Offloading and uploading trucks for 8 hours a day. Difficult work, man, where I was grinding so much that I was losing muscle because of how many calories I was burning. I was not eating nearly enough to sustain my muscles, and so they were eating itself, and I got so thin doing it. Yeah, I lost a lot of weight, which is cool, but when you like to be muscular and you're just losing muscle too, it's like, oh, I'm strong, but I'm very lean, and I don't want to be that lean. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why I don't do that anymore. There's a reason why I podcast for a living, and I do music. Even though I get stressed out about a lot of this stuff, and sometimes there are some tedious grinds to it, the fact that I don't have a legitimate schedule, like, it's forgivable if something happens, or if we just want to take a day off or something happens and I don't have to worry about getting fired, I don't have to answer to some dickhead boss, yeah, I'll take that over any day, and I will easily do this all day and still be able to socialize if I choose to. And if I know I'm going to go out and do something, I will make sure I cut my work to a minimum so I can have more time to rest and then be recharged to go out. Because back in the day, working my regular jobs, I did not have that luxury. You would work all day, pretty much shower, and then sometimes you just needed to go somewhere else. And you tried your best to be up and be in that situation, because that is just how normal people operate. So I can't believe this guy. I can't believe this guy, dude. It's just like, at a certain point, you just got, where are your friends to just tell you to shut up about this? Like, dude, if you realize you're privileged about this, you would never say anything like this, ever. You just wouldn't say it. Because you saying, oh, man, my social battery, I'm like, that's not you feeling like you're lucky, man. And I kind of get it. And the last thing I'll say is that there is a grass is greener thing that happens every once in a while. It happens to me every once in a while because running your own business is very difficult. I would prefer not to do that. If I were an employee in the same field that I'm doing, that would be preferable. That's the only difference that I would change. I don't like being in charge of my whole operation. I've never been the person that wanted to run everything. I just wanted to be the talent and do stuff. Just like me mixing and producing my own music and stuff. Like, I'm not a fan of it. I like recording the music. I like doing that part. But then as far as mixing and all that other crap, I'm like, this is not what I want to do. Managing all this stuff, no thank you. But this is the situation that I'm in. I do what I do, and I think it's better than the 9 to 5. And I feel lucky as hell, man. And I would never tell somebody that, yeah, but my job, I'm like, never. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Please hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new, and maybe share this with Hasan. I don't care. He seems to, maybe he'll react to it. I don't know. Maybe he'll react to it because I'm not just specifically hating on him. I'm sure he'd be much more charitable watching my critiques of him versus other people that are just like, oh, rich socialist. Oh, he's rich socialist. Oh, you know. And I'm like, yeah, we get it, guys. Say something else. Say something else. All right, take care.